Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, All In Health and Wellness. If you're looking for a health coach, you're looking for a sports performance coach, you're looking for nutrition guidance, like for instance, a meal by meal plan that will help you understand how to eat. It will teach you how to eat, and it will give your body, your cells, the proper nutrition to feel great and be able to perform at your best, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally. If you're looking for those things, you're looking for the key to improve your sports performance, both from a nutrition standpoint and an exercise physical standpoint and a mental standpoint as you approach your athletic event. All In Health and Wellness is able to help in these areas. Go to allinhealthandwellness.com and you'll find the contact information for how to get in touch with them and get started on the plan that will improve your life.
So thank you, Dr. Bucci, for being a guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jerry. I hope we all have fun today.
Exactly. And one of the things that I love about what you've sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've sort of taken what somebody else started and taken it to the next level with Juvenon and helping them in provide information for people, but breaking down sort of that myth that when you hit 40, your body's going to break apart, fall apart, and everything's just going to go to hell. Right?
Well, after 40, you're not the same and you see little things happening, but you still can maintain a very healthy body and a very functional body too. Right. And I think that's the problem with aging, and that people feel it's inevitable and you start to see little cracks in the armor. But but you have to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And that involves just what everybody already knows. You need to stay active mentally and physically, especially physically, and you need to watch what you eat, because it's time to really eat well, eat right. Don't eat all the crud you've been eating. Don't overdo alcohol and all those sorts of things. So it's really simple, but nobody really wants to change. Yeah. So there's that element of change, and no scientific gobbledygook can help that. Right. Cattle prods maybe, but not very nice thing to do. So So the bottom line is, you can have a long and healthy life. You do need to look at your genetics, your heritage, what's going on with your background. You've seen your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, siblings. You know what you shouldn't do. And so don't do it. Just don't do it. If somebody drank himself to death, don't drink yourself to death. Right. So that's kind of like the bottom line for me is just be aware that, you can have a vibrant, healthy aging, and but you have to do it. You have to work at it.
Well, and in mixing those two things together, you can sort of come up with something I've heard many, many people say that are in the longevity space and trying to help people with these things, is that it starts in the kitchen, and that we've abandoned the kitchen in our current society. We eat out all the time. We're on the go so much that we do very few things in the kitchen, and that's what really, from a habit standpoint, translate as we age.
Oh gosh, yeah, you can say that's the root of all evil and be very accurate, I think, because gosh, I'm so lucky that I have a wife who loves to cook in the kitchen, and she's been we've been married a long time, so she listens to me and slaps me around a few times when I talk too much, but so she knows how to shop, and you can go. You can cook stuff at home, but don't bring the same stuff you're going to eat out. Right. So in other words, it's real simple. I mean, I'm a doubly certified clinical nutritionist and helped found one of those groups, et cetera, blah blah blah. But I'd like to focus on supplements because that's so much simpler, and it's hard to get people to change their diets. Right. And you're right. It starts in the kitchen. So you really, I think, have to cook stuff. And
Yeah.
you have to make it look like it just came out of the ground, out of the farm, off a tree, um, not on the hoof or anything. That's kind of morbid. But
Right.
in
Right.
other words, it needs to be fresh. The fresher
Yeah.
the better. So you have to actually eat it raw, or don't cook it to death, and you get the whole foods.
Right.
So that's what happens when people start to decay, is that you get more calories and less of the other things that are supposed to go with those calories that our
Right.
bodies have developed from ancient times.
Yeah.
So we've really gotten away from that, and it's all because of your brain wants sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's from a cell standpoint, right? Like, because the cells want the easiest thing to operate on. And if it's already processed and already broken down and quickly goes into the bloodstream, then the cells are like, "Oh, I like that because it's quick, quick burning, quick energy, quick boom, boom, boom."
Yeah.
But that often comes with so many side effects, whether it's that we've all seen, we all know the energy drop that comes after we eat a super sugary lunch or something at 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon, we're falling asleep at our desk. But
Gosh.
there's so many other things that happen internally we don't see.
Yeah, we're not. My biggest bugaboo with the whole world is that we aren't told what we are. We aren't shown. We don't study that in school.
Yeah.
And when you do what I do, and a lot of scientists do, you have to know how the human body works. And
Right.
most people do not have a clue. You just go with what your folks did, your friends tell you, what you see in the boob tube,
Right.
it mesmerizes. And that's killing us all. I think
Yeah.
we see that. So I don't know if I can stop mass media, but don't listen to everything, but just
Right.
learn all you can. And podcasts like yours are, I think, the best sources,
Yeah.
because you get real people telling you what's going on, and you
Right.
don't have to crack a book, or you don't have to go online. And you can go online, but you're going to get misled really easily.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Enough of that. So that's what we're here for, is to kind of help people. Really, I think one of the biggest problems people have is they have that crash in the afternoon, that little downtime, and it's pretty much your brain. Go back to the real cause in the brain is a sugar monster. It needs
Oh, yeah.
glucose, not table sugar, glucose. That is what your brain primarily runs on.
Right.
And because it's easy to turn that into your cell energy, ATP, and so it doesn't burn a lot of fat.
Right.
That's for your muscles to do. And the fat is kind of there to give you a basic amount of energy all the time with everything.
Yeah.
And then you load it up in carbohydrates to get more muscular energy or mental energy. So what happens with the brain is, you eat, your blood sugar goes up, and it will come back down in a couple hours.
Right.
Now hopefully it comes down to its normal level that you started before, but it can also go down lower than normal, the rebound effect, because your body's trying to get all the sugar into the cells, and it does it too well.
Right.
Which everybody, oh, that's the magnesium deficiency, it's a chromium deficiency, it's this and that. Well, no, I think what's going on with that sleepy time is that the brain says, wait a minute, we have all this glucose, we're happy, man, we're rocking, we're going strong. And then all of a sudden it starts to see it go down, and it's still high or normal, but the brain's saying, wait a minute, where's our glucose going? It's like you're watching the water leave the lake. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we can't go swimming now. What are we going to do? So it panics a little, and it says, okay, but whoa, slow down, stop. We don't have enough glucose. It's going away. So, just shut down this. You don't need that. So you kind of get drowsy.
Yeah.
And that's what you normally do with a big meal is you're supposed to sleep it off back in caveman days, let's
Mhm.
say. So you can put it where you need to be, and if you have extra, you store it as fat, but hopefully you're making plenty of glycogen, and that can be used to give the brain more of its glucose throughout the day. So we've kind of messed that up with our eating habits, and carbs aren't bad. You
Right.
just need to, and we'll get to that later, but you just need to make sure you're eating everything with the meal, not just a like a bunch of potato chips or
Right.
popcorn or something that's pure carbs or really sugary things. We're not designed for sugar. Sugar has a very dark side,
Yeah.
but we don't need to get into that if you don't want to, though.
Well, but so is this why eating like this over time, right? Not one meal, okay, fine, but like the habitual, day after day, week after week, year after year, is this more of a driving factor in why our metabolism starts to fall off a cliff as we get older?
Yes, I totally agree. It's a habit,
Yeah.
and we are trained to do that. Your brain, it runs on sugar, but it listens to its reward cascade system, and that's the endorphins are the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
We'll do anything to get those endorphins. That's why there's drug addicts, for example.
Right.
That's the long and short of it. So anything you do that makes you feel good about yourself is releasing endorphins, and sugar will do that because I won't get into that. It's a long story, but sugar
Sure.
actually raises endorphins via free radicals. It's a long story, but it's a fake kind
Yeah.
of high, but
Right.
it feels the same because an endorphin is an endorphin and your brain wants it. And
Yeah.
you'll do what your endorphins tell you to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's the habit. That's what a habit is. So you have
Right.
to um, break that and replace that endorphin fix with exercise, which will reset how the brain thinks about endorphins. So you don't just get the little hits and think
Right.
that's everything. If you exercise right, you get a big endorphin hit.
Yeah.
That's the runner's high, et cetera.
Right.
And I think that that's why exercise is super important. And if you eat right, you're still going to shrivel up and lose muscle and all that.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop certain things. And one of those is the muscle loss. And if you exercise, you can keep the muscle mass up. So
Right.
that's why I make sure I strength train or lift weights.
Yeah.
When you work for Leader Nutrition a few years, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can keep a lot of muscle on
Yeah.
after 40.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many examples of this now that because of social media, we can see all the examples and people are posting. And one of the things I always tell people I work with is if you've seen someone else do it, then that means your body could do it too. Doesn't mean it will do it, but it means it could do it, right? Like if somebody was to actually start flying, just flapping their arms and flying, then we'd be like, okay, well, somebody figured something out. So if somebody can do it, we can all do it. And so it's like that type of thing of like, if somebody else has learned that, oh, if I start strength training at 50, by the time I'm 60, I can possibly reverse diseases and, better control my weight and all these things, then that should happen for most people as well if they did those same things, correct?
Absolutely, yes. And it's also a time factor. Lives are so busy. Everybody's looking at their phone all day long instead of actually working out or preparing a real meal.
Right.
And you have to have some mental fortitude to tell yourself what to do
Sure.
and not just follow the herd.
Yeah.
If you follow the herd, you know what you're going to get.
Right. Right.
So I just, you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. And yeah, you don't have to be perfect
Right.
because our body's pretty flexible, fluid. It can take a hit now, a lot of hits, but they add up too. And my dad, who was a pathologist, so I grew up seeing dead people as
Yeah.
a teen.
Yeah.
He said the body never forgets an insult. And it's like, what does that mean, Daddy? It means don't overeat, don't eat stupid, just all the things that we know, just
Yeah.
don't do them.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be stupid. So that's what I think of every time I start to do something stupid. I go, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Body never forgets an insult.
Right.
Don't be stupid. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's the more insults you have, the more recovery you have to go through, right? And that's whether it's physical or emotional or mental. Like there's so many different levels to that, and they can be intertwined and just continue to compound in this negative way against us if we never deal with it, especially, which is that's a major thing for men, because, I was brought up in that age where you don't cry, you squash it, you don't tell anybody your emotions and all those things. And we were just watching, my wife and I were watching, we've started watching that Alone show, where they go off on their own and in the woods and have to live primitive. And one of the guys on the show was talking about how he missed his family, and he'd been married for 15 years and his wife had never seen him cry. And then she was going to see him cry for the first time on TV because he was crying into the camera. And I looked at my wife and I was like, man, how sad. Like, that, like, that the most vulnerable person in your life that you should be able to share everything with. And if you're going to, it should be your spouse. And like, to not be able to do that just shows how much of an emotional issue there could be there.
Gosh, everything's connected. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just our body and it takes care of itself. Emotions do release hormones, and that does affect our ability. What it does is it tries to get more sugar to the brain. So it'll cannibalize, guess what? Muscle.
Yeah.
Because amino acids, carbon source, they're water soluble. So boom, comes sugar. Liver cranks it out.
Yeah.
Your liver only stores a little bit of starch to keep your blood sugar up, and your muscles store a little bit too. You can enhance that if you exercise, especially endurance. But really, you have to break down muscle to get instant glucose to the brain if it wants more. And when you have these emotions and also just mental acuity, focus, things like that, taking a test, really, really just zoning in like gamers or something. Your brain is just churning for glucose. It's just needing a bunch of glucose. So the brain rules. It will send all kinds of little hormones out to tell your body to give me more glucose. I don't care. You're not using that muscle right now. Give me some glucose. Tear it down.
Right.
So but the body puts it back. But the more you do that, the more consistent you are doing that, breaking down to feed your brain, which we all have to do, you're going to expose some inadequacies here and there, and those are what pile up. And then, it's hard. So over 50 or 60, it's always thought to have been hard to make muscle, and you waste away, and then it snowballs. So before long, well, I can't go to the gym because I'm too tired, or I don't want to look like a wimp in there, or it hurts, and blah, blah, blah. So, but I worked at Leader Nutrition for a long time, and they turned into shift. So I had to deal with a lot of bodybuilders, and I was this little pencil neck geek, and they took one look at me and said, "Dude, I'm going to get you in the gym." Oh no, they're going to kill me. And they almost did, but I have to say, you slug all those drinks and you take all those pills and you work your butt off. I gained a massive amount of weight and lost my little gut. And if I had got rid of all my hair, I could have started thinking about bodybuilding competitions. I mean, and I'm not a bodybuilder, but you have to exercise.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of exercise, it's burning calories. That's super important.
Well, yeah, it's just movement, right? It's like so for people that think of exercise as a bad thing, or, I don't want to sweat, or I don't want to do all the little excuses, it's really just movement. And there's so many different research things about whether it's swimming or walking or jogging or cycling or strength training or like playing pickleball for a long period of time. Like there's so many different options out there. And so if you don't like something, that doesn't mean you don't like exercise. It just means you don't like that part of it. Sort of like if you don't like Brussels sprouts, it doesn't mean you don't like vegetables. You just don't like Brussels sprouts. And it's okay.
No, that's a very good point, because sooner or later you find what you like to do, or you're not, you can schedule it and do it and not hate it, in other words. And that's important. So now that I've working from home is very helpful for me, because now I can take the hikes up the hill and back right from my front door, so I don't have to go drive to a gym and all that. But anything helps, and everything helps too.
Yeah.
And it helps you improve your nutritional intake, which means your diet and cooking eventually, because if you exercise enough, you get hungry.
Yeah.
And that's going to make you eat. So you what you put in your body is important after that. And gosh, there's so much to, I mean, there's so many ways to deal with that. But what it does is it makes you cognizant that, yeah, you need to fuel not just your brain, which is going to take care of itself, but you have to fuel the body too. And the best way to do that, unless you take a ton of pills, which may or may not be the right ones.
Right.
I have lots of problems with a lot of the dogmas out there in the supplement world. It's really all about getting your body what it needs and not too much of anything else. So too
Right.
much of anything is going to be counterproductive. I think we all kind of know that, but we don't realize it.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and it's also something to note that, you know, the quality of the food that's being produced from a nutrient standpoint, right? We're talking whole foods, not the ultra processed stuff, because that we all know that's quality's zero on that. But but the stuff that even that you're growing in your own backyard, because the seeds have been watered down, if you will, the soil's been changed over years, that like the nutrient density is not what it used to be. And so you may still be trying to do everything in your kitchen correctly and still missing a couple of things, right? And so that's where the supplement piece does come in pretty much for everybody, is what I believe. Is like everybody should be supplementing with something. But like you said, dialing into what that is for you is also important, right?
yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, hey, that's where supplements come in. And
Right.
obviously, I've spent most of my career in supplements, and as being a nutritionist, I know all about the diet. But after you figure that out for yourself, you're on an even keel. You still are going to age. You're still going to lose muscle. You still
Mhm.
want to be more active. You don't want to become an Alzheimer's patient. So
Right.
you've got to look further than the diet, and that's where
Mhm.
supplements come in. And supplements are really just foods,
Yeah.
or should be. They're all chemicals some of the time, most of the time now. But that's what is in our foods, chemicals that we use
Mhm.
in small amounts that make big differences. So, of course, people that find out who I am and what I do ask me, "Oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What am I going to take?"
Right.
Okay. Calm down. First, calm down, and I keep it simple. Okay, there's three of the most important things I think everybody must supplement, and that is vitamin D3,
Mhm.
and then magnesium, and then omega threes.
Right.
Now, there are nuances in each one, but really vitamin D is real simple. It's cheap. You
Oh
can get
yeah.
a good amount. If you have triple digits, you're fine.
Mhm.
Lower triple digits, okay, for a long time, and it makes a lot of difference,
Yeah.
especially when you age.
Right.
Now, magnesium. Well, now all of a sudden, I'm very happy that it's in vogue. The magnesium bisglycinate is the buzzword now, and there's other magnesiums. Any magnesium is going to help. But yeah, the old-fashioned magnesium oxide, that's still
Mhm.
okay, actually. More studies on that than any other form of magnesium. Just don't
Yeah.
take too much, because then it's like milk of magnesia. Well, it is milk
Mhm.
of magnesia, and you poop it all out. So
Right.
in other words, magnesium, but you don't need a lot. 100 milligrams, 200 if you're a big person, maybe as much as you weigh, that kind of stuff in milligrams instead of
Right.
pounds. And that's super important. I'm not a big fan of calcium, because that blocks magnesium. So all
Mhm.
these women taking calcium and not taking estrogen anymore so much, they're having trouble with their bones. So they take these drugs that make the bone harder but not better.
Yeah.
And it's because calcium's the last step on making bone, pretty
Right.
much. It's the last
Right.
step where it hardens.
Right.
Everything before that needs everything else. So if you don't have enough magnesium, that's where you don't build the collagenous tissue, the
Mhm.
soft tissue of your bone that becomes calcified. Calcification is easy. But if you don't have enough to calcify, you're just going to slowly lose bone.
Right.
So magnesium, I think, is more important than calcium.
Right. Well, and
And
strength training, we've come to find out, right? Strength training strengthens your bones more than calcium does.
oh yeah, Yeah, exactly. And oh my gosh, the heavier you do things, the more you put the good stress,
Mhm.
mechanical stress on throughout your whole bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to dig into things really deep, so I won't get into it too much. But your bones are they're not just a chunk of rock.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
25% of your blood flow, every heartbeat goes to your bones. It's like, whoa, this is metabolically active tissue. Not only
Right.
does it make all of our blood cells red and white all the time,
Mhm.
or you get anemic and die. So if it doesn't work, you're in trouble. So in other words,
Right.
but the bone tissue itself, not the part that's in the marrow, that's still metabolically active.
Mhm.
And it controls a lot of our minerals in our bloodstream too that make us feel good or not feel good. So
Yeah.
you want we're getting down into the blood flow thing sooner or later. But that's what people don't understand. It's not just, well, let's just chuck some more calcium in there and we'll be fine. No,
Yeah.
no, that's not work.
Yeah.
Um, and if you look at bones, you look at people, or obviously animals will, carnivores will eat bones, and
Mhm.
people gnawed on bones things too in caveman days. Oh,
Right.
they're getting their calcium. Well, bone has a lot of magnesium in it too. So
Mm.
if you're just doing a calcium product, you're probably imbalancing and knocking out your magnesium and your zinc, copper,
Right.
et cetera.
Okay.
And be careful with bone supplements, because if there's anything strontium in them,
Mhm.
I hate that,
Yeah.
because strontium is under calcium in the periodic table, but it's like a much heavier element. So
Mhm.
one strontium's like 4 or 5 times the weight of a calcium. So if you put a little strontium in there, it's going to go to your bone. Your bone's going to look good on the measurements.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, your bone mass went up. Yeah, but it's not as strong. It's more brittle because that's the wrong kind of calcium. It's
Right.
So be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because when they say, "Oh yeah, make your bone mass go up in 3 months or 1 month or X amount of time," if it sounds too good to be true,
Right.
you got to read those labels, and there's hidden strontium in a lot of these things. So don't do
Right.
that. So
Right.
in other words,
Right.
that's those little tips that
Yeah.
people don't realize until it's too late, because it's harder to get rid of it too.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, but some of
And
those
then
biphosphate drugs are,
omega-3 you had mentioned as well as a
yeah,
supplement, which I'm
yeah,
a huge proponent of, and I tested this on myself when I first learned about it years ago, and I was like, oh, well, let me see, let me take some, because I wasn't supplementing with it, and within, I mean, it was a short period of time, a couple of weeks, I was like, holy cow, my moods have, I'm not mood swinging, I'm like, I'm balanced more, I'm like, wow, this is in all things that I was researching, going, okay, this is what's supposed to happen if you start to balance things out, because your brain is more omega-3, and so it helps to operate better, it helps to operate smoother and process things, and yeah, you avoid some of those emotional swings because of a nutrient,
yeah. That's the fun part about omega
which
threes.
is it's huge.
We're you look at the NHANES National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey that's done every few years. The U.S. government, they send all these forms to people to fill out on what they eat and lifestyles and things. And that kind of is like the pulse of what we're doing in this country.
Mhm.
And you can, we're not going to worry about what's the cutoff of a deficiency for this or that nutrient,
Right.
but it's pretty well everybody in the nutrition world knows that 95% of us don't get enough omega-3s, whatever that
Right.
means. Why does everybody, except
Yeah.
maybe for people that are still eating like Eskimos, literally.
Yeah.
Uh, Another one is fiber. It's like 95% of us
Mhm.
don't get as much as we should.
Right.
And I think we all agree on that. And there's other nutrients too. One of them, magnesium and D3, are the other biggies that are not getting enough in a lot of people.
Yeah.
But back to omega-3s then. I don't like fish oils either,
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. I mean, yes, they're good omega-3s, but people tend to get too much, and they can go rancid quickly, not in the pill, but really in your body.
Mm.
So, okay, let's go back to the drawing board here, and just, okay, what do omega-3s do? Well, if they're a fat, so you can burn them for energy, it's like, no, they don't really burn well for energy. They're,
Right.
they're too unsaturated. The body doesn't store them because they attract free radicals like a magnet, literally electromagnet. So they're very nasty. They oxidize and they can start to really rust you everywhere. So and that's why that's why foods don't have much of them, because it spoils. Put a raw fish in your counter and come back in a few days and try to eat it. Right, there you go. Especially a tuna. Anyway, crude analogy, but you get the point.
Right.
All right. Well, what do omega-3s really do? What's our body doing with them? We're not storing them. We're not burning them for energy. Your body gets rid of them quickly. What they really do is that your omega-3s, EPA, DHA, for those people that want to know, they attach to a phospholipid, which is an X fat molecule that you tear off one fat and you put a phosphate and some other goodies on it. And that is what our membranes are. Our membranes are AC/DC. They can dissolve fat and they can just go through. In other words, they kind of make sure everything gets into the cell that the cell wants, and everything that gets out goes out. Right. But the omega-3s are in a small amount in your membrane, and they are the fuel. Those omega-3s get topped off by enzymes to run your enzymes that control inflammation. So and a lot more than that. So that's why you mentioned the mood. If you get rid of inflammation everywhere, you have that nagging, the body's on edge, it's not working right. Things don't work like they should, and we should be happy. And people without omega-3s are not happy, period.
Yeah.
They just aren't. And that's because these, I don't want to say prostaglandins and icosanoids, but I just did. Those are those little messengers that your cells are using, but they get it only from omega-3s. Yeah. And if you have more of the regular fat, which we'll call omega-6, like plant oils, they make the opposite. They make the pro-inflammatory things, because you have to have both. You have to break down to build, and the omega-3s build. So you want to have a balance with the omega-3s. And it's not like more omega-3s and omega-6s. It's just more than we're getting now.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, wait a minute, let me look at this again. And then krill oil appeared, and it's mostly phospholipids, omega-3s. In fact, half of the omega-3s in krill oil are identical, the same exact molecule in your membranes.
Oh, wow.
Fish oil needs 25 steps to get to that point. Metabolic steps. I saw the chart from the head scientist at the biggest krill oil company, and thought, okay, why are we beating our heads against? I mean, fish oil, yeah, it would happen, but it's hard for the body to do. If you're deficient in something, it's going to get worse than that. So I just cut to the chase and use krill oil. So I'm a big krill oil fan.
Yeah.
We don't sell it at Juvenon yet, but I've been taking it for a long time, and I've tested my blood too, and it's there's plenty of the omega-3 index going on in me. And I just take like one pill a day, and that's good enough, because it was targeted to go to your membranes. You don't have all the oxidation and free radicals from the excess omega-3s that your body is losing or burning, can't get rid of, whatever.
Yeah.
So and another a nail in that coffin is, okay, the pharmaceutical companies finally figured out, hey, we can do that better. We can use omega-3s to drop your cholesterol and triglycerides. Well, the cholesterol didn't work. So we'll drop your triglycerides. You have too much triglycerides, you get these really big honker omega-3 pills. Now you're down to the pure fatty acid. Forget the triglycerides, forget the phospholipids, just the fatty acid. Well, guess what? Well, it works, but we want to get better results. Give more. Horsepower race. And before long, it doesn't work anymore. Then you're having other cardiotoxic things, because these things they're a free radical magnet. So they just looked at, blinders on, and we want to lower the triglycerides. We don't care if it's rusting you, whatever. Yeah. So they learned the hard way that omega-3s can be toxic if they're too much, or if they're exposed to air and are rancid when you eat them. So phospholipids, nice thing about krill oil, it has astaxanthin and boom, that's a wonderful antioxidant. It keeps it
Yes.
pristine. So I guess the krill people should pay me for saying all this. But when you
Right.
go there, you see them and you read the studies, you put two and two together. It's like that's the way I go.
Right. Well, and one of the things you mentioned too is so knowing where you're at, right? Knowing what you're deficient in, and then addressing that, and but addressing that changes over time, right?
Mhm.
Like, because if you're deficient, you've got to fill the bucket back up. But once the bucket's full, you can tailor off just to maintain if you're doing the other things correctly once you get to that level, correct?
Yes, exactly. And yeah, so don't stop. Don't stop trying.
Right.
One step backwards, you can do one or two steps forward, and you're still good. Um, so, but really, the omega-3 thing has just been. I mean, fish oil is still good. Just don't take too much.
Right.
You
Right.
pop a fish oil a day, you're still getting it into your membranes. It does have a lot of human studies that show benefits from that. And I think because researchers and people being what we are, well, if a little's good, let's try more. But it has a
Right.
seed. So fish oils have ceilings. So does krill, but
Yeah.
it's it's more expensive. So you're going to run out of money before
Yeah.
you get toxic.
Right.
Which is another fun thing about supplements. You can just get all kinds of things that are good, but you may not need them as
Right.
much. Oh, like a multi, for example. I don't take a multi anymore.
Right.
I take like one a week just for fun, just to make sure nothing's there, because your body stores them all the B's a little bit.
Mhm.
Your fat solubles, you really need to get the natural forms from your food. Don't get me started on vitamin E, for example.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're eating enough of the fruits and vegetables, plant foods, you get most of your vitamins anyway. But so I think that's kind of something that everybody's putting too much faith in, and
Right.
it means they can have a bad diet.
Mhm. Well, and I believe the same thing, because people ask me, what multivitamin do you take? And I'm like, I don't. I take specific vitamins based on either what I could be deficient in based on what I'm eating, but others based on, okay, well, I know that I'm more active than the average person, and so I need more of these other like B vitamins and things, because like I'm churning through those so much with the exercise level that I do. I want to make sure, and hey, okay, I might overload it a little bit, but I'm okay with that, because I'm not spending triple the cost on a multivitamin to get the same level of that, and then getting all this stuff that I don't need.
Yeah, you're doing it right. I'm not saying don't take a multi, but just don't get an overdose of the B vitamins,
Right.
because then you activate the disposal system, because the
Mhm.
body says, well, you need like one, and we're getting 10, so we're going to get rid of nine. And,
Mhm.
and before you know it, you get very good at getting rid of these things, and your diet's going to fluctuate. So you're going to lose out on some of them, even if you're supplementing, because now your
Right.
body's getting rid of it quickly.
Right.
So that's why, yeah. So a nice little multi is fine.
Mhm.
I mean, I hate to say a one a day, because those have very, very small effects when you
Yeah.
start to study it in a population. But I think what's missing more are the minerals,
Right.
and all the other things that are in plant foods. And
Mhm.
I have to say the polyphenol thing, but
Right.
that's what we're looking for. Don't worry, they're all there, and that's why you want to eat more of those, because they're not, quote, essential, because you don't die of a horrible disease if you don't get any at all. But
Right.
yeah, we do die of a horrible disease if we don't get any polyphenols at all, and it's called aging and cardiovascular
Right.
rot. In other words, that's what helps our gut microbiome first,
Mhm.
and that changes all those things we eat into a whole horde of compounds that our body is using to keep us healthy. It's
Right.
so complicated that nut, if I can hit, that's a
Yeah.
nice analogy. Yeah, because nuts have all those things too.
Mhm.
It's too complicated for your reductionist kind of research.
Mhm.
Just look at one antioxidant at a time, or like quercetin at a time. You're going to go, well, that stuff's not absorbed well. We need to get more in, and this body doesn't want it. Like, right. It wants you to get it to your gut microbiome, you dummies. Look further.
Right.
Keep looking.
Right.
And where does it go? If it's not going in the bloodstream, where does it go? It's
Yeah.
not going to poof disappear into thin air or out of your gut. No, it goes to your gut microbiome, and they love it, and they make all
Right.
kinds of good stuff, and you get good gut bacteria. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
So that may not even need to take a probiotic. You can just take all the prebiotics and postbiotics that are in
Right.
foods.
Right.
So I figured all those things out, but it's hard to get people off of things. And all these supplements have their good side too. But gosh, even
Well,
if you like, okay, go.
and a big, besides testing, right? Because we can do all the tests and we can do all that stuff and we can find the deficiencies. But another big piece, if we're avoiding the big multivitamin or the catch-all, like in trying to nail down, like, what am I, if we add something and it doesn't change us at all, right? We feel no effect, no changes, sleep habits are the same, mood's the same, bowel movements the same, everything in life is exactly the same. Well, that didn't move the needle, obviously. Right. And so it could be and so that trial and error sometimes can take us farther than all the testing and all the, the stuff that we do, correct?
Yeah, I helped found SpectraCell Labs, which is still going. They do a very sophisticated test to find out what your cells are really needing, and a very individual basis. That's very surprising. And I won't dwell on that. But so in other words, I know more about lab testing than most people ever want to know.
Yeah.
And taught that to clinical nutritionists for years. Grew up in a lab, and Dad's a pathologist. He owned a lab, and that's where I grew up. So I know about that. And I'm thinking we're not getting the right tests from our medical profession. Okay, you get a CBC. Well, what's that? It's a complete blood count. It looks for anemia. By the time you have anemia, you've been deficient in something for a long time.
Right.
It still doesn't pinpoint anything. It's just that you need more red cells, or you need more white cells, or you have the wrong kind of white cells. And then they're looking for a disease to see if that's going to help, that they can fix, that'll help fix that, when really it's probably nutritional.
Right.
And that's completely foreign to medicine, completely, because you can't patent all this stuff.
Sure.
So, okay, I'm going to be assassinated next week, but I know why. So I think that's what people don't understand is, and I like what you said about try something. So I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So I have this base. It's pretty simple. It's the D3 magnesium krill oil for me, and I take not a lot of supplements, but when I try some out, you have to give it time.
Yeah.
People take a few pills and they go, I don't feel anything. This stuff, throw it away. No, okay. Well, I took it for a week, nothing happened. Well, that's not no, don't do that. Your body takes time. It's plastic. It takes time to respond to good as well as bad.
Right.
So if you're going to try something good, you have to give it the body's turnover time of how to fix things. So that usually means 3 to 4 months. And I've learned that over and over and over with nutrition. So you see all these studies that last 4, 6, 8 weeks. Well, this stuff didn't work. This is all hooey. No, you morons, you go 4 to 6 months and boom, you start seeing things.
Right.
Especially joint supplements, but that's another story. So in other words, most of the research is skewed to be stupid, to put it simply. So you can't trust it. You have to look at the details, and that's my job, but not many people have this kind of, you do it, but you need to not trust everything, but not discount everything.
Yeah.
So if there's a study that goes 4 weeks and it showed no effects, I go, throw it away. Forget about it. It goes 8 weeks and it's like, it kind of didn't work. Go longer. So with nutrition, you go longer, not more.
Right.
I've learned that too. You start giving more, and like I said about the B vitamins, your body's going to get really good at getting rid of it. And before you know it, you're getting negative results when you should be getting positive results. So
I think probably most people understand because it's been talked. Well, I should say most people, but it's been talked about before. And but with melatonin, right? If you start taking melatonin on a regular basis to help you get to sleep, your body's going to say, I don't have to produce this anymore. And then you stop taking it, and then your ability to go to sleep is worse than it was before you started taking it, because your body goes, I don't even have to do that anymore, because you're now taking care of that outside of me. And so it stops producing it. And so if you ever do want to stop taking melatonin, you're in a very bad situation.
Yeah, I've done that to myself too.
Yeah.
When I first got to Weeder, it had Shift Nutrition also. That was this leftover health food store line they didn't know what to do with. And that's when the melatonin craze first hit, along with DHEA, if anybody remembers that, which I still take DHEA to this way, just a little.
Yeah.
More for getting rid of all hormones than for what it does. So in other words, it's safe, but it allows you to get rid of your excess testosterone and estrogens, which are poisonous. But anyway, but the melatonin was just a craze, and I thought, okay. And there was very little research on it, and now it's you don't need a whole lot to go to help you go to sleep.
Right.
With it.
Right.
The more you take, though, you do have some anti-aging effects, but then you have to be careful with your sleep.
Yeah.
So I've been going from 0 to 10 to 3 to 6, 1 milligram a day, all the last 40 years, and well, not that long, 30 years, but anyway, it's I don't mean, if I think magnesium at nighttime is probably better, because melatonin will reset itself when you have daylight, lights, night, dark. So if you're having trouble sleeping, I think one of the best things to do is just put something over your eyes so that you really real dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, more melatonin is a fantastic antioxidant, and the body it knows how to get rid of it quickly and easily, so it doesn't get toxic like some antioxidants do. So I don't know. I'm all over with melatonin because you just need to see what works for you. So I would say start low and then see how your sleep goes, and go to start at 1, go to 3, then go to 6, and after that you're really trying to do anti-aging, and you take it any time of the day, because you take melatonin when you're not trying to go to sleep, and you won't go to sleep.
Right.
I mean, it's part of what the body does to clear out the free radicals when you sleep. Everybody thinks it's a sleep stimulus when it's just kind of because they give it to blind people and it doesn't really reset their sleep time. So okay, if you're dark and you're waiting for the melatonin to come up and tell you when it's time to sleep, it's like, no, it's doing something else. So that's why I look deep at things and ask questions. And taking it at bedtime is fine. I think it's better to take it like 8 at night, 8 p.m. or those sorts of things. You can take in the morning, and it's going to really kind of flesh out things. So and not put you to sleep.
Right.
There's always placebo effect.
Oh, sure, of course. But you mentioned another thing, which is magnesium at night. And so which triggers which I know, and that's something that I promote as well, is like take it in the evening before you go to bed. There is a timing piece to some, not all, but to some vitamins and minerals to get a maximum effect from them, right?
Yeah, there is some of that. It's called the circadian rhythm. In other words, your body's doing certain things at certain times. I think that's why dinner is the most important meal. Everybody says back for breakfast, but no, it's dinner, because that's where your body is starting to repair, especially the brain. That's why we sleep. Your brain has to slow down because all that crazy energy is pickling your brain, literally. Try not going to sleep forever and you die, basically. So that's why we sleep. And so the body says, okay, we're sitting there. Everything gets moved around. Everything gets patched up and repaired. So you want to make sure you have all your energy molecules there. And magnesium is, I think, it does so many things in the body that anything the body's going to do after any time is going to involve enzymes that run on magnesium.
Mhm.
So the funny thing about magnesium is that it is hard to get into cells because of its electrical charge. It has waters around it because
Okay.
water's a hydration. It's a chemical thing. But you dissolve magnesium, so it's soluble, it gets around. It has like 40 water molecules, H2Os around it, whereas the calcium only has 8. So
Mm.
it's hard to stuff it through the receptors in cells.
Yeah.
So magnesium is the one that goes out of line first
Mhm.
of any mineral. So that's why it's important at bedtime, because
Yeah.
then you have all those enzymes that are reparative enzymes use magnesium. I mean, if you don't have enough magnesium, you don't make enough ATP, which is
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
So in other words, that's why it's important. And diets without real fresh foods, real whole foods, they're magnesium depleted. And I think that's another reason everybody's groggy in the afternoon after meals,
Mhm.
because they just don't have enough basic magnesium.
Right.
And I think you sort of, I don't have that problem, and rarely. And it's
Yeah.
because I think you have enough magnesium too.
Right.
So it's not, yeah. If you don't eat right, then your sugar is gonna rule you, and you don't
Mhm.
rule the sugar or glucose.
Right.
Plus,
Um,
yeah.
Good.
Okay. No, I won't get into AGEs here, but that's
Yeah.
the problem with too much sugar, especially fructose, and
Right.
it basically pickles everything. But that's enough of that.
Well, but it shows, all we've talked about just shows how important it is to learn these things early in life. Because I think one thing that everybody knows is that we're compounding, whether it's habits or our body's feeling that and compounding those things as well. And so the muscle loss over time, the bone loss over time, the things that you know if we've lost it over 10 years, we're not going to get it back in 10 days.
Oh gosh, yeah. People expect so much out of supplements because they have the drug promise in their heads.
Mhm.
You take this, like take a headache, aspirin. Oh yeah, okay, I'm better. No, no. Your body, you're actually. It's like you have an old house and you want to renovate it. Does that
Mhm.
happen in an hour? Uh-uh.
No.
No, you got to. Okay, we got to break this wall down. We got to put the wall back in. In the meantime, you have to put something there so the wind doesn't come out. Blah blah. So in other words, yeah, you're right. You have just give it time, and one change at a time too.
Yeah.
That way you know what it's going to do. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's that 3 or 4 month period where things start to really happen after 3 to 4 months. That's your body's turnover time for most tissues.
Right.
That's when you really notice it. Now, some things the brain can notice right away, like caffeine, but that's not building anything.
Right.
That's just pushing buttons and
Yeah.
stuff. So you want more buttons to push? Yeah, take all these things. So have a good
Right.
diet. So,
Well, and I absolutely love that analogy of the old house you're renovating, because I think we've all watched renovation shows, right? And they tear into a wall and they go, I didn't know that was behind there. And oh, that's not up to code. Who built that? Right? Like, and that's the kind of thing your body is, you make the change and everybody thinks that, oh, I can't eat this way because it makes my body operate differently, and I can't go to the bathroom that much, or I can't do this or that one. But it's actually your body's going, oh, hey, you forgot this damage back here. I got to clean it up before I can build properly. And so you go through this window that could be a week, it could be a month, where yeah, you're transitioning, and you could very easily feel a lot worse during that time period before you feel better.
yeah. Scientists call it the Herxheimer reaction. It gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And it could really be worse, but I think when you make these little changes, that's a sign that you're on the right track, and give it
Mhm.
that 3 to 4 month time. Like eating salads. Most people have a little salad and a lot of everything else. So
Mhm.
my wife and I decided to. She's smarter than I am. She said, "Okay, we're going to start eating salads for dinner." It's like, oh, really? Okay, let me try it out. I mean, I'm just healthy. I got to be healthy, right?
Right.
And my gosh, yeah, your GI tract will change because the gut
Mhm.
microbiome changes, but you change it to a better gut microbiome. And
Right.
after that little tussle going on down there, wow, everything's better than it's ever been. And, no, don't want to give any gory details, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're happy. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And so now when I don't have a salad for dinner, like when I go out to eat or something, then it's like, oh man, I feel like crud. It's like,
Mhm.
ooh, nasty stuff. So, hey, yeah, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, so you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's habits that you need to try something different. Give that a little time,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work after a good number of 6, 8 weeks, 3 months or something, then okay, that's not for you.
Right.
Try something else,
Right.
or you're missing something. But
Yeah.
but that's why people need people like you that tell
Yeah.
them how to do everything right. And yep, it's a holistic thing.
Right.
Emotion,
Well,
mental.
and that's one of the things that I harp on with people is and it can be a bit like, okay, I really don't want to go there, but how are your bowels changing over your transition? Because that's a signal that something like, are you becoming more constipated? That's maybe not what we want. And so, we're digging into that and
Mhm.
and oftentimes though, it's going to change in some fashion in the short term to get back to a quote more normal, way of processing. Um,
Yes, yes, and we mistake that for, oh, that's not right for me. That's not good for me.
mhm.
When like you say, you're renovating a house. You got to tear down to fix up sometimes,
Yeah.
and otherwise, you're just repainting it, and it's going to fall on your head eventually, which is
Right.
aging.
Right.
So, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so I think that so everything that kind of bundle all this up, you need to figure out what works right for you, but you still need to make sure you're eating right. And exercise is super important. I
Right.
cannot emphasize that enough. And if you, especially over 40, you're going to start to lose muscle mass if you don't do anything about it. So if you
Right.
have not lifted weights or doing strength training, you need to do some.
Yeah.
Even if you lose the muscle, if you keep your strength, you're still functional.
Right.
And that's what you want to be, functional.
Right.
So you don't have to go in the gym and become a bodybuilder, but just any iron you pump or anything you do, plyometrics, even anything that's called strength training,
Mhm.
that's huge. A lot of people like to do sprints and things, but if you have two left feet like I do, that's not an easy thing to do without
Right.
falling down. That sounds silly, but yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be. But if you have better muscle mass, you could sprint and not fall down. So
Right.
it all ties together. And there's the spiritual part too. It's part of
Mhm.
the four-legged stool, really. Here,
Yeah.
and so and that we can't fix. That everybody has to figure that out for themselves.
Right.
But you're right. If you take supplements, your brain does feel better. It is happier. You have
Mhm.
endorphins when you're supposed to have them instead of getting it
Mhm.
artificially from things that are not good for you, like drugs,
Right.
like cigarettes and other bad habits. Bad habits are very addictive
Right.
because of this endorphin. Otherwise, people
Right.
wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So you got to get your endorphin from good things.
Right. So, Dr. Luke, I just looked at the time and realized, man, this conversation has been great because I didn't realize it taken that long already. But so I want to be respectful of your time, but tell us how they can find more information through Juvenon and the things that y'all are doing and how they can help tailor their nutrition along with what they actually need.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Jerry. I got off track a little, but
That's
you have to
okay.
have a base. Yeah, at
Yeah.
juvenon.com. So Juvenon, juvenon.com. We have a cute little website, I think, and we don't have a lot of supplements, and we don't have a multivitamin, let's say.
Right.
We have any omega-3s either, but we have very specific things. We really focus on blood flow.
Mhm.
And our BloodFlow 7 has a lot of different ways to take it. We just came out with some powder drink mixes in a can or sticks,
Mhm.
and they actually taste good, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's been our most favorite product because you may not, it's not caffeine. You're not going to like jump around, but you
Right.
keep going. You keep going. You go, You work, and you look up and say, well, wait a minute, it's like 8 p.m. What? How did that happen?
Yeah.
But you still felt good. So blood flow is important, and that is making nitric oxide without nitrates or nitrites, which are carcinogens eventually. So it has enough polyphenols that also support the nitric oxide, which is also important for nitric oxide uh, staying power, which
Mhm.
it disintegrates really fast in your body. So you don't need to get rid of it. It gets rid of itself, but it
Mhm.
turns into a peroxynitrite, which is a free radical. So you want to make sure you have it where you need it, when you need it, as much as you need. You don't want
Right.
to overdo it,
Right.
which is what the nitrates and nitrites do. So
Right.
that's our best product. And it's one of those things that I think of as a multivitamin because we all need blood flow.
Yep.
Our arteries just need to stay relaxed, stay
Mhm.
calm, get the blood to the brain so it can have all the glucose it wants and not
Right.
freak out and make you tear down protein to build up blood glucose. So it all kind of
Yeah.
connects at the end.
Right.
And and we really started with the cellular health from Dr. Bruce Ames, who is the Nobel Prize winner for the test of mutagenesis. But he gave up on that and said, I want to live forever because all these nasty things. How do I live longer?"
Yeah.
And he came up with acetyl L-carnitine, which is what the mitochondria use to burn fats, and lipoic acid, which is your biggest intracellular antioxidant that your
Mhm.
body makes. But sometimes you don't make enough. So that
Right.
that was cellular health, and that's what started Juvenon, and that's our other not an exciting product to be
Right.
honest, but it's one of those things that's just very basic and makes your mitochondria burn better. So
Yeah.
then you get rid of you stop getting too many free radicals running around, and that rust is what eventually makes everything go downhill. But really, the nitric oxide is super important. Looking at what goes down with age,
Mhm.
golly, by healthy people when they're 40, it's about 20% lower
Mhm.
than at your peak at 20 years. If you're not healthy, you're down 60%, down
Oh, wow.
60%. You only have 40% left
Oh,
when you're
wow.
40. Now you look at those curves and they keep going down.
Yeah.
Now, healthy people are down to around 50% at best when they're like 70,
Mhm.
and it goes down from there.
Yeah.
And unhealthy people, they don't live that long. So
Right.
so in
Yeah.
other words, no, your blood, you live as long as your blood flow.
Right.
So that's why I liked our blood flow product because it's getting to the root.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, you can have all the nutrients, everything you have, everything can be in there. And then you're sort of like, you're a car that's in a traffic jam on the interstate, not going anywhere. You're just running out of gas versus being just, the interstate's clear and you're just smooth sailing and everything's great. And you're going to get where you want to go without any problems. And, and yeah, without blood flow, like it doesn't matter what you put in the package, it's not getting where it needs to go.
Yeah, so I kind of liken the blood flow to you're the one that gets in the shoulder and gets out of the rut.
Yeah.
The freeway.
Yep.
It's not cheating, it's just going, it's getting
Right.
there. It's living, it's surviving and
Yeah.
thriving too. That's the best part. So
Yeah.
that you're right, and I wish we had better um, medical system that would actually look at things that can help us live longer
Mhm.
instead of what's our blood chemistries and our blood counts. Those are
Right.
kind of like end stage. You're going to die soon if they're out of range.
Yeah.
So we need to see what's really going on with our foods and our
Mhm.
intakes and things. And there's lots of those tests, but nobody's really pushed them or used them.
Right.
Well, people like you do, of course, and other
Sure.
holistic practitioners, and I really train a lot of nutritionists to do that.
Yeah.
Um, if you so look for some kind of practitioner that can do nutritional tests,
Mhm.
like how much of this not just vitamins, but just okay, what are the markers for what's going on in your gut? That tells
Right.
you a lot. What do that stool analysis thing and figure out what kind of gut bugs you have.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, that's kind of where I think we need to be going if you really want to get to the bottom of what you need to do for yourself.
Right. Yeah, because it's not just about being disease free. I mean, obviously we want to be disease free, but are we also doing the things that are going to give us the best chance to have the quality of life we want when we age?
Yeah, that's why I like starting with Juvenon a couple of years ago, because I've made people get bigger, beefier. I've made people get healthier at all the other supplement companies, run faster, run farther, all kinds of exercise performance, all kinds of just general nutrition and supplementation. And once you get to my ripe old age, you realize, okay, there's more behind than forward.
Right.
So how do I keep that going the right way? I mean, I have close friends that aren't here anymore, and
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, okay, you need to start, like you said, you need to start earlier, and 40 is a good time to really start doing it right. Because like I showed with that nitric oxide curves of age, there's healthy people that have more stuff, more circulation, more nitric
Right.
oxide. There's unhealthy people that don't even they die before they get to the point where a healthy person is starting to slow down.
Yeah.
So I know which curve I want to be on.
Right. Yeah.
And you
Yep.
can too.
Yep. Yep.
So just be healthy.
Yep. Well, Dr. Bucci, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been a great conversation. I mean, I feel like we could talk forever. It's been a wealth of knowledge, and I know my listeners are going to greatly benefit from it. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.